Friday morning, we dry up dry cows, or most Friday mornings, pretty much every Friday morning. This morning we had 10 of them. So we have a catch pen right outside the parlor here where we catch them. And then we have gates we can shut to send them over to the dry cow barn. It's just right across here, about 150, 200 feet away. This morning's been quite a busy morning. We had dried all them cows up. I think there was 10 of them this morning. That's more than we normally dry up. Normally it's anywhere from 6, probably 6 is a good average. You can anywhere from 3 to 7 or 8. It's not real often we dry 10 up, but that's how many we had this morning. And brought a couple springers over, I think 3 or 4, maybe 4 I think it was. But yeah, this week has been crazy hot. We had 5 days in a row that hit right at 100. It started last Sunday. 1 or 2 of them days might have only been like 98 or 99, but it was hot. But now this morning it cooled off, and it's actually almost about half chilly out here. It's kind of a mist in the air. It's only supposed to be high at like 76. We're hoping for a little rain. We had a little shower yesterday, almost a tenth of an inch, but it's a lot of areas where there was a lot of pop-up storms around us. Some areas got up to an inch of rain, some more than that. But yeah, we're hoping for a little bit here. They're talking about some today, a chance today and tomorrow. And tomorrow's supposed to get back in the upper 80s. Supposed to be in the upper 80s to low 90s the next several days. At least it won't be near as hot as it was, hopefully. The cows seem to be doing well. They did take a pretty good hit in production, but hopefully they'll come back. We lost about 6 pounds per cow, which comes out to almost 4,000 pounds of pickups. But yeah, hopefully they'll come back, and yeah, we have a lot of fresher cows, so that should help them bounce back a little bit better. I'm bedding the freestalls here today, and this cornfield's here right beside our freestall barn. Yeah, it's well above the fence posts there. The fence posts are probably, I don't know, chest or shoulder high, so yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't walk out in this cornfield here, but it's probably up to the top of my head. So yeah, there's been some rain around the last couple days, but we've been missing a lot of it. Hopefully we get something here, and we're not hurting yet. There's still moisture in the ground, but it would be good to get another good drink. Yeah, I got our freestalls all bedded up. It's Friday afternoon. We usually bed them 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Yeah, this whole week was crazy hot, but it's cool enough today. The center fans are off. The fans over along the feed lane are on, but it's actually, if you're out in the air, I mean, it's not cold enough to need a jacket, but it's probably mid-60s, somewhere in there. It's cloudy and it's just sort of damp, and if you're out riding on a 4-wheeler or something, or an open tractor, a jacket would actually feel good. But got the stalls all bedded clean and ready for the weekend. We have a cave on our farm, and some of my relatives are around this weekend, and a bunch of them wanted to come down, so we came out today and came down in the cave. It's been here ever since we bought the farm, or my dad would have bought the farm. We're probably underground a good 40 feet here. Down in here, in the bottom, the room opens up. It's probably a good 15 feet high, and yeah, it's not real level on the bottom. It's pretty rocky, but we there's a bunch of initials and dates on the rocks. Some of my brother's names and initials are here, and the date's 1969. So
use your toes so long. Like, I thought it was just that first thing in your tracks down here. There you go. Very cool. I'm gonna like that on this pretty rough for these nice shoes.
yeah. Whoa, here. We've had a lot of rain in the last 6-8 weeks, so it's way damper and muddy down in here than normal. So, but yeah, it's still pretty neat down here. Somebody got out.
No, he's behind.
He's coming for you.
See, you can come up over this side too.
Go ahead. Nobody can slip and slide on the end.
Yeah.
I don't pass the Lincoln Street.
Here's the entrance down into it. There's just some rocks around here, and there's a hole down in the ground. Kind of right in the middle of a rock break up here on that one hill. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
One of the guys I work with got one of the half-top tit taps with the veins on it, you know.
Uh-huh.
These things are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our pigs have been really growing. They love when I mow the yard here. And if you blow the grass in for them, they just love it. But they are like so dirty. It's warm today, but it's not hot. It's not like last week. It's pretty humid and warm, but it's comfortable. Anyhow, they have their pen out here. Well, from the rain, they got some water down there, slopping in it like pigs do. But these pigs are so friendly, and as dirty as they are, you don't want to get too close to them. But usually it takes a little. Usually they don't get quite this friendly this fast, but.
Well, this morning is June the 30th, Monday morning, June the 30th. I'm out here checking some of my fields here again this morning. I'm in one of our wheat fields, and this field here is just about ready to go. There I shelled some of the wheat out, and they just might need about another day or two yet, but it ain't gonna be long. And let me see, we have about 40 acres total. This field here has got about 16 in. We have another field that's about 24 or 5. The other field, maybe is just a little behind this one. I want to go over and check it next. But with all the rain we had back there in the last, through May and into early June, you got a little bit of green stuff greening up in the bottom of it. Well, here's a track where the sprayer ran through whenever they were putting fungicide on it. About 3-4 weeks ago, but it ain't too bad in the weed itself. We had sprayed it for weeds back earlier on to kill anything that was in here, so it's not too bad. But some years you can almost bale the straw right behind the combine. We probably won't be able to do that this year. We'll probably have to let it lay a day, and depending on how thick the windrows are, might even have to flip it over with a rake or something. But talking about a chance of some showers here today, maybe thunderstorms today and tomorrow. And then the rest of the week looks fairly good, so hopefully we'll be able to get this off and not get any rain on the straw. If you got much of any windrow of straw, you get rain on it, it can take a while to get it dried out. But I'm out here looking at my other wheat field. This wheat's, this was the one we had a little bit more winter kill in earlier, I think I mentioned about. But it actually looks nicer than the other field now, which is this ground. This field's better ground. It's a little taller, and yeah, I would say this field's going to do better than the other field. And it's not too much farther behind the others. There's some wheat I shelled out. There's still, yeah, probably 2 to 4 days, depending on how much heat or if we get any rain. If we don't get any rain, I would say 2 or 3 days, but if we get a little rain, it might be a day or two longer than that. But Yeah, this field here, we're hoping to haul manure on it and still plant it into corn. It's getting to be more and more guys in our area that plant corn after wheat. We've never done that before. We've usually planted sorghum or sudex. The other field is on a slate land field, so we definitely are planting that into sorghum. Yeah, I don't know. We need a lot of rain to get a corn crop off of that one. But yeah, I think we'll go ahead and we are planning to go ahead and put corn in this one. So it's going to be a shorter season corn, about 95 or 98 day corn. So we're right on the other side of the lane from this wheat out here on this farm. There's a lane that goes back into the farmhouse here on this farm, but there's a field of corn, and this stuff is really growing and looking nice. A lot of our early corn's probably above my head and gone, but yeah, hopefully we'll keep getting some rain to keep it growing. Yeah, I can just barely reach to the top of it here. So it's probably, I don't know, 7.5 feet tall, probably. 7.5 feet tall. And it's pretty much that height the whole way back through here. Actually, might even be a little taller on back in here. Yeah, here's some spots I can't even reach to the top of it. So, yeah. Anyway, we could use a really good rain here, so hopefully we get some. They're talking about some today and tomorrow, pretty good chance, but so we'll see once what we get. Some of these stalks are going to be massive till they get mature. Yeah, these two little stalks, I don't know what they're about, but they must have came up later. Thankfully, we don't have much of that. I'm here right at the edge of the field. The first 2 or 3 rows are a little bit shorter than they are once you walk on back in there, 6 or 8 or 10 rows, but there's definitely some tall corn here. I'd say most of our early corn's pretty close to this height. In most areas over some of the ridges it might not be quite this tall, but the large majority of it's probably there anywhere from head height to 7-8 feet tall. I can only remember maybe, I mean, we've had a lot of corn over the years that were shoulder high or head high by the 4th of July. I can probably, I don't know if it'd be more than a handful of times remember corn that would be like this tall, like 7-8 foot tall, where you can barely reach the top of it by the 4th of July. So hopefully the Lord will keep giving us rain and sending us rain as we need and finish it out and put a good year on for us. Last year was a pretty tough year for corn. I mean, we had enough feed, but it definitely was pretty stressed. And the last couple years wasn't any. We haven't had a bumper crop for probably, I'm gonna say 4 or 5 years ago. We had a really good year, and we've had some decent years mixed in between, but not what we would call a bumper crop where you about as good as you can get. So, but like my dad always said too, don't count your chickens before they're hatched. We've had before in the past where had a good crop, and one year we had some really tall corn, and we had some storms come through there around the beginning of September, and some of it went down. And yeah, so don't count your eggs before they're hatched, or don't figure out the corn before it's in the silos or in the bins. But well, every year is a different story with different challenges, so we'll keep taking one day and 1 year at a time. Also, overall, this field's a lot cleaner as far as any weeds in it than the other field. Yeah, if you look down there toward the ground, there's almost nothing. Every now and then you'll see a patch or two, a few green things sticking up over here. I don't know if you can see that over there, about 20-30 feet away, and there's one way on over there. But as far as having a lot of green stuff greening up on the ground, and even here where the track was where the sprayer ran, yeah, it's a lot different looking than it was over there. Here in our area about 2 weeks ago, a lot of the barley was about ready to combine, and yeah, we got several rainy days, and a lot of it started looking dark across the top, and everybody got it off now. From what I've seen, all of our neighbors around us that had barley got theirs off. We didn't have any barley, or we don't usually grow any barley, but it's all part of it. They always say on a year where you get a lot of rain and get a good corn crop, sometimes it ain't the best grain year, and that's usually how it works. Might walk over in it. Again, here it's June the 30th, and this stuff's way above my head going. I did a video in here, I'd have to look back. Was it maybe 10 days ago? At the most 2 weeks ago, and it was about shoulder height. This stuff's starting to get a swirl. It's about ready to start shooting tassel. Yeah, this is unreal. If you can see my hand there, I can't even quite reach to the top of this stuff. It has to be up there pushing close to 7.5, 8 feet tall. I had mentioned in one other field a couple weeks ago, maybe two, about the tiller roots coming. Yeah, they're starting here too. Let me see, I think I've seen a stalk. Right here's one where there's some starting to come out a little higher up. You almost always get at least 2 sets of tiller roots. There's one right there at the ground level, like you can see there, and here's a stalk you can see. Yeah, you can see the set that's there at the ground, and then there's another set starting to grow. Let's see if I can find any more here. Yeah, here's one where the second set's starting to grow right there. The taller and heavier the stalk gets, usually the bigger tiller roots it'll grow. Here's one that's got the second set growed out and growing down into the ground. The first set's down under there, and that's the second set. We really could use a good rain here again. It's not terrible stressed at this point yet, but there is spots in some of the other fields that are starting to show stress. Hopefully we'll get some rain, but hopefully we'll also get the weather we need to get our wheat combined. I had mentioned about moving this one trench wall. Whenever we put these in years ago, we were probably only milking around 180 or 200 cows. And we put our triticale in here, and so we only made it 18 feet wide so we could keep it fresh. But we're milking a lot more cows now, so we started putting the triticale over in this one other trench. It's 24 feet wide. And we're gonna move this wall over and widen it out. I think I mentioned about it in another video. They were here doing some excavating here a month or so ago. Yeah, we got a layer of stone up through here, and I think they're coming either Wednesday or Thursday of this week to move the wall over. There's a couple panels we're going to replace. Most of them are still really good yet, and the ones that we're going to replace really aren't that bad either. But being there, we're going to move them. We're going to go ahead and replace a couple of them, and then there's one or two that we're going to, 2 or 3 actually, we're going to put out at the end. Like right there's one where some of the concrete's chipping off and that rebar is rusting out. Yeah, he said you might get a couple more years out of it, but it would end up, yeah, as that rusts more, it'll keep chipping concrete away. So that one, and here's one. This one on the outside, I think it was, up along the one edge, has a bunch of rusted rebar showing really bad. And then it's got some pretty nasty cracks, which just ain't too bad yet, but being it's all, it's pretty much right outside here where that crack is, where that rebar is rusting through really bad. So yeah, they said they should be able to do it in a day. This plastic pipe here is some pipe we had cut a slit in it and put it up on top of the wall so we can pull plastic across it. Whenever we fill it, we have plastic in along the edge of the wall. But they have a crane they'll bring along. I think we're getting 3 new panels, so we're bringing a couple of new panels along, and I think we're planning to move it over, see, whatever we have room for, but at least 12 feet, possibly up as high as 13 or 14. So we're going to be somewhere between 30 and 32 feet wide.
Dishes of food for the dogs. The cat's trying to steal it. But it's actually cat food and flea treats. They probably hear what I'm saying, so they decide they don't want to eat them. But I try to give them their treats, or they're actually not treats, or to keep them from getting fleas. Give it to them once a month. And the cat, I don't know, have any fleas. Anyhow, if I give them the treats, they won't eat them. But if I smash them all up like this, They'll eat them just fine. Oh, the kitty's growling. Here, Penny. You want to eat yours? The cats keep coming and stealing it. And then they let the cats have it. Anyhow, they're picky old dogs. They won't eat them. If I smash them up and put them in cat food, it's perfectly fine. Teddy ate his already. Is it good, Penny? Maybe the cats will get a bite or two of it, huh? And take care of them too. We just put flea drops on the cats. But the dogs, no, Penny, you gotta eat it. Here, Penny. Here, Penny. I used to just do like little hunks of them, and they would eat everything and pick out the flea treats. But now I just smash them up too. They're pretty smashed up. Is it good, Penny? Poor Teddy this morning. He was out at the calf barn, and I was treating some of the cats for fleas, putting drops on them. And he was there, and I had a little bit extra, and so I put it on the back of his neck. And oh, if there's anything he hates worse than that, is getting flea stuff put on him. He rolls, and he'll roll in the dirt. He was rolling in the straw. He was all dirty. And we used to do flea drops, but he would go over to the pond and he'll wash it off right away. So we were just like, wow. So we got these flea drops from the vet, and they actually work pretty good. We give them one once, or I shouldn't say flea drops, flea treats, or they're just the size of a little treat, and we give them once a month. But with this hot weather, I don't know if they just haven't been working quite as good or lasting quite as long.
Morning is Tuesday morning. We have one of our round bale wagons here. We have two round bale wagons. This is our smaller one, and it's our older one. This one here is probably close to 25 years old, I would think. And yeah, it's been around quite a while and hauled a lot of bales. This one's 25 feet long. The other one is 30 feet long, but the last time we were using it here wasn't real long ago. We had a wheel bearing go out of it down here, and yeah, we had loaded a load of hay and just barely pulled out on the road, and I heard something grinding around funny, and I'm like, what in the world? So I was able to get off the road just a little bit farther up, and we took the bales off this wagon and switched them over to the other one. But yeah, I want to get it over here to the shop and pull it apart, and hopefully it shouldn't take a whole lot to fix it. We have our wheat that we're going to do here before too long, and we'll need this wagon to help haul the straw bales, so we want to get it fixed before that. So I just popped the dust cap off. There's still some grease in here, so it didn't go bad because it went dry, thankfully. Anyhow, we'll, like a little cotter pin here, we'll have to pull out and then take this nut off and pull everything apart and get some new bearings for it. Oh yeah, that bearing popped right out. Yeah, there's still grease on them. It's not like dry or all dirty. I don't remember of ever changing any wheel bearings on this thing, so probably still the original wheel bearings. So it's probably why they went bad, but yeah, well there's the bearing. It's in all kinds of pieces. It just went to nothing. Yeah, we'll get this off of here and get the inner bearing or the piece slid off the shaft, and then hopefully we'll still be able to see what size bearing we need here. It definitely didn't go out because it didn't have enough grease in there. It's just packed full of grease in there, and so glad to see that. I know we grease it a couple times a year normally, but I was About half afraid when one of them went out. I was like, oh boy, did that not get grease right or not? Got everything pulled apart here. I want to get everything cleaned up. These are the races that the bearings run on. Take them along, and yeah, well, normally they come with a new race, but the bearing that went bad, it's all chewed up on the edge. You can't even find the number on that one. So hopefully we'll be able to piece it all together or get it all figured out. But yeah, I'll clean these all up with a rag good and go see what I can find. We have it completely all apart now. Everything, I figured out everything I need. Cleaned everything out good in there. Yeah, you want to make sure you clean that out good because of, yeah, if you let any grease in there, it has any metal particles in it from the bearing going out, it'll ruin the next bearing really fast. So anyway, I need 2 bearings and 2 races and a seal, so hopefully they'll have everything we need. They should, because this is a fairly common size for wagon wheels. Got everything I need here now. Got new bearing and new race for the smaller one. This bearing and race, we just stuck them in together there. And then here's the new seal. Yeah, the new seal will slide on first. It just slides clear on back there like that. And then this race here, there's one on either side. You stick on here and it just presses down into the hub there. Yeah, you just want to gently tap it and bump it down in. You don't want to put any nicks on it or that'll make the bearing go bad really fast. There, got the new race seated on this side. Now I'll do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll slide this first bearing on. Make sure it's seated back in there right. Here again, you got to be careful when you bump these things on so you don't mess the bearing up. That one slid right back into place. I usually always take my grease gun and pump a little grease right on the bearing. And then I'll stick my wheel on and pump a little more grease in and then stick the last bearing on. We got it all back together and ready to stick the dust cap on. Sometimes the seal can start going bad and let some like grit or dirt get in the inside there and get mixed in with the grease. Sometimes that'll make them go out too. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when we're making hay or baling straw, the fields are kind of dry and dusty on top, so there's a lot of times dust rolling, so a little hard to get a lot of video here because everything I'm touching is covered with grease and need 2 hands for most everything I'm doing. But anyway, got this back together. Now I want to get everything greased. I'll grease this up good and go around good, get all the other wheel bearings greased, all the axles and the pivot points on the tongue on the running gear.
I have my chickens they come outside and there's a weeping willow tree. I don't know if I can get this one or not. But if you notice, especially out there, there's the weeping willow leaves are all like the same length. They jump up and eat them, but it's growing down a little far. So if I let the goats in here, then they'll come and trim them up higher, and I won't have to trim them. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to do that. It makes it, especially in the, oh, there we go. There she's doing it. They stand here and they jump up. And they get the leaves off the weeping willow tree. And that's my rooster. I've had him for I don't know how many years now. I had 2 of them like him, or they looked exactly the same. And anyhow, the other one died. He's got to be at least 5 or 6 years old. We have him just for the idea of having a rooster. I don't know why. I like the crowing. He has never tried to get me. He doesn't chase me. He doesn't do anything. So that's why he's still around. But you can tell on his feet that he's getting pretty old. But I like to hear a rooster crowing. Maybe the eggs out. Other people have gotten some and hatched them, but we just eat them all. I like when they just walk around and dig around. That's the only bad part about chickens, is you can't grow any grass where the chickens are. They eat every last bit of it.